Hello everyone, how we doing? My name is Joey Randazzo, and today I'm excited to share with you guys this recipe that I picked up from my grandparents, I miei nonni, and that is a stuffed eggplant. Now, this dish is a traditional Italian Mediterranean dish that I learned from my grandma, and it's truly exciting because eggplant melanzane in Italian is not only a really delicious meal, and served in many different ways, but it's also an extremely easy vegetable to cook. And in other episodes and other shows, I could show you guys different ways of how I make whipped eggplant as well as an eggplant parmigiano. But today I'm going to do a stuffed eggplant. A little bit about myself: I've been cooking for just over 20 years now, and this is my first YouTube video that I'm going to share with you guys of very many, so I'm extremely excited to get this out for you guys. Alright, now, other than the fact that it makes you cry, the onion is actually one of the tougher vegetables to cut, so I'm not going to really go through cutting all of these vegetables out here for you, but unlike most videos that you watch, I do want to show how to cut an onion because, again, it is one of the tougher vegetables. Now, what I'll do is just take the top and bottom off and then slice it down the middle. After that, what I do is I take this middle part out because it's kind of a yucky part that nobody really wants. And then you take, of course, the top layer and the skin off. Okay. Skin off, as well as that inner middle gut part. And here we go. What we do here now is I just make about 5 incisions, and I use my thumb and my pointer finger like this. Pointer finger to now hold this back end so that it doesn't release from the back, as you can see. And then I'll move it over to the side and I'll just come down like this. Now, it's important when you do this that you hold your fingers down like this so that you don't cut your finger. You're chopping like this. So what I'm going to do, and then bring it to the middle and chop it another couple times like that. Okay, so I have 2 onions diced up, and now for the third onion, I'm actually just gonna cut this one up a little bit different. I'm not gonna dice this one. I'm just gonna slice it, actually. It's funny because it sounds the same, but it's not. What I'm gonna do with this onion is save it for later, and you'll see what I'm gonna do with that is actually put it in the baking dish with the stuffed eggplant. So for this now, instead of actually dicing it, I'm just going to slice right here. And save those off to the side for later. Alright, now, since it's the main ingredient, what I'm going to do here with the eggplant is cut off the bottom. And you would think it's the top, but it's actually the bottom because that's where the stem goes in. And now I'm actually going to slice it down the middle. All right. And we're going to do that for all 3 now. Alright, so what we're going to do with the eggplant is actually gut them, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. But after that, let's take the celery now, and for one of the celery, I have 4 stalks here, but for one of them, we're going to make kind of 1-inch pieces, and that's going to go off to the side with the onions to go in the pan for later with the rest of the vegetables. Now these 3 stalks what I'm going to do is I need this to use for the stuffing. So for these, I'm actually going to cut into pretty small pieces. And now that'll be safe for later for the stuffing. I'm going to do the same with the carrots. We want those, I'm going to make one in about 1/4 inch pieces real quick. That's going to go in with the other ingredients, the other vegetables to be baked at the bottom, and then some smaller pieces are going to go in for the stuffing. So for these, what we want to do, I want my cuts on here to be equal to the onion. So what I'm going to do here is kind of just make sure everything's a little bit more finely cut. And how I do that is I just push it off towards the knife like so. Bring it to the middle, move the cutting board around. Now one little quick tip is when you're holding the knife, you want to hold it with your thumb and your pointer finger like that. And you actually want to grip it like this and hold your hand at the top when you come down. Some people think you might grab a knife like this and that might be right in war if you're going to stab someone, but when you're chopping, you just want to hold it like this. And here's why. When I do that, I'm not going to hit my knuckles on the cutting board because I'm holding the knife like this, and I have my hand on top, which secures the position so that I could just chop like this real easy. And again, it'll just be easier with the stuffing for these vegetables to cook inside the stuffed eggplant if they're a little bit smaller. All right, with my garlic, I'm going to go ahead and put that off into the onions because we're going to fry those together to create the stuffing. Real quick to show you how I cut open the melanzane, the eggplant here, what I'll do is carve around it and then cut a line down the middle and through the sides. And then we're actually gonna use the inside as a part of our stuffing and stuff it with the eggplant. So I made that line down the middle. I'm gonna go through, cut little squares, little chunks of it, and then put that, I'm gonna grab a spoon here, spoon it out onto the cutting board, because what we're gonna do is actually chop that up and put it right back into the stuffing, fry that up all together. So we're gonna hollow out the eggplant and then chop up the inside to put along with the celery and the carrots that are already together already, which is going to go in the stuffing with the onions and garlic and of course some olive oil. Okay, so now I have my stuffing almost ready. I have my onions and garlic ready to go and my vegetables for off to the side. I have my eggplants carved out. Now what I'm gonna cut up is green pepper. What I do is cut off the top and then scoop out the inside, and then just hit it across my hand to get all the seeds out. Pick out the lining, cut it down half. All right, now I'm going to dice this up, and this is going, one of them is actually going to stay in slice form and go off to the side with the rest of the vegetables, and the other one's going to get diced up and go right into the stuffing. For these, I like to, again, dice them pretty small into little pieces. Allora. And now, fresh parsley. Pick off the leaves of the parsley because we're not going to be dicing up the stems. So throw these away. And then the parsley. These green peppers will go into our mixture to save off for later. And the rest will go into the stuffing. Lastly, we just have these other smaller peppers, which I'm going to use for both the stuffing and then probably just 2 of them off to the side with the rest of the vegetables. So I'm going to put this on medium high, get that going, and I'm going to add about 3 to 4 tablespoons of olive oil. It's usually never bad to do too much, but I'm going to keep it light to get started because I might be using olive oil about 3 more times in this video alone. Okay, first I have my garlic and onions, and I'm going to put that on the side. I'm just going to make a little bit of risotto pasta just for a little bit of a base because, again, this is all vegetables that I'm making here right now, and sometimes you need a little bit of something to complement that. I got my garlic and onion. Wow, does that smell good. And all of the vegetables that I cut up for you here for you. Kind of just put it on like that. Let all those tougher ingredients, just the harder vegetables, be more exposed to the heat. But eventually it really doesn't matter too much because it's going to be baking in the oven for an hour, and it's all going to be cooking in here for about, I'd say about 10 minutes on medium high. I got everything in here right now and letting that cook. What I'm going to do over here is turn my oven on to 375 preheated. Start. We'll get that going. I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to stuff the eggplant and with the stuffing over here, and then put it in the oven for an hour with a little bit of tin foil on top for about a half hour so that the steam can be all absorbed inside. And then I'm going to actually take the tin foil off so that the air can be let out and that it all gets cooked nice and properly. That looks delicious. A lot of colors, you know. I'm not a dietitian, but I do like to eat healthy, and I definitely know that the more colors you have on your plate, the healthier the meal is. Especially when there's a lot of greens, oranges, reds. Keep it within that. Garlic's good for you, onions are good for you. So this is going to be a pretty overall healthy dish. Since the breadcrumbs I'm using is not extremely flavored, I want to add some seasoning into my stuffing as well. So I'm going to add a pinch of salt, not too much, a little bit more than that. About 2 pinches of salt, and for now just some pepper, so about a tablespoon or 2 of black ground pepper. I want to show you guys how that looks. A lot of colors, a lot of good things going on. Right now we have the water boiling over there for the risotto, and then over here we got the stuffing. And what I'm going to do is add a little bit of white wine, not too much, but just a little bit to absorb inside of the vegetables so that it all becomes one nice mixture. And then I'm going to add in the crushed tomatoes. So I want to just show you guys what's going on here. Add a little bit of white wine. And then in goes the tomatoes. Okay, I'm just gonna push this all around, fold it up a little bit. And it's okay that it's a little bit liquidy, because what we're gonna do next is add in the breadcrumbs and parmigiano. Okay, so right now here's what it's looking like. Okay. Now I have about a cup left of breadcrumbs in here, and so I'm gonna put that in the mixture. It's a little bit less than a cup. Toss that out, and a little bit of Parmigiano Reggiano. Now, honestly, I put Parmesan in like every single meal that I cook, because even though I know I'm trying to eat healthy all the time, this is one of those things that I'll just never give up, is Parmigiano. So I'm going to put the heat a little bit low now that it's very wet in there. As I stir in my dry ingredients, it's going to create the perfect consistency of a stuffing, which is exactly what we're looking for. And I'll show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. Alright, so just folding it all together, so that our stuffing can come together real nicely. Okay, what I want to do is take a little bit of olive oil and just put it on the bottom, not too much, about a tablespoon, and then put my eggplants down, because pretty soon I'm ready to stuff these. I actually probably could have done it, well, no. What I want to do is use 2 pans. Baking dishes, I meant, because I'm gonna have a lot of vegetables in between them as kind of the base. With that being said, I have some potatoes here. I'm just gonna wash those, cut those up, because I'm actually gonna lay the potatoes in with the other vegetables that I cut larger and saved off to the side. I cut them up into wedges, and I'm just gonna place the wedges on the sides, and then the other vegetables are also gonna go in on the sides as well. Okay, so here's what we got. I have my eggplants ready to be stuffed by the stuffing, and I have my oven ready to go, and I got the orzo cooking over there. I'm basically just going to take the eggplant and stuff them like so with the stuffing. Just like that. Put it right back in. First, I'm going to take a little bit of olive oil. Put that on there. Second, oregano, garlic powder, Italian seasoning, and un po' di sale, salt, Himalayan salt. I'm going to put that on first. Sprinkle a little bit over the top. Okay, we'll get this out of here for a second. Italian seasoning salt. Put that in a little bit, boom, over the top. So I have my other vegetables that are cut up into larger pieces. I have right here my eggplant with the stuffing. I just put a little bit of the seasonings on. What I want to do now is here I have a little bit of homemade tomato sauce. So I'm going to put a little bit inside the vegetables so I can mix that around. And then I'm going to save a little bit to go on top of all of it. And then lastly, I'm going to put a little bit of Parmigiano on top of that. Just going to mix around my vegetables. There's a little bit of olive oil in there. I have about 8 ounces of water. What I'm going to do is show you. I'm going to pour the water on the sides with the other vegetables. I'm just going to put one in on top and the other end on the bottom. Now again, $3.75 for an hour. One's 30 minutes with the foil on top so the steam gets all inside, and then 30 minutes we're going to take the cover out. It's cooking for an hour, and I'll show you guys what that looks like. Alright, so it's been in there for about 45 minutes. I just want to show you guys what this is looking like. I'll just pull this bottom rack out so you can see. And then on top. Alright, so about 15 more minutes, we're going to take it out and then plate it up and serve it.